Is hype broken in comics? I think this is a funny thing that's been on my mind. I don't know how well I'll do in describing this, but hopefully open up the door enough so we can get some good comments. You guys always have some great ideas. And really, this is meant to just open up the conversation. That's all. But hype in comics, is it always been bad, or is it just now bad, or who's buying it? Hey everybody, this is Perch. Here's what came across today, and this is a thought that's always kind of bubbling in the back of my head, and I know other people have commented on this in the past, and I've talked about marketing and comics and all the rest. But on one hand, and I'll just get this out of the way up front, I'm always happy to see creators who are excited about their work and they're putting some energy forward and they're promoting and they're hyping their stuff and they seem proud of what they do. I think that's a great thing. Yeah, more of that. Absolutely. Definitely want to see all of that we can get. At the same time, the hype train feels like it's like Stan Lee light and not done very well. What got me was today, I'm not picking on the guy. Whatever. This is not meant to be a video about Donny Cates by any stretch of the imagination, because there's tons of people who have used this exact same line, and basically he's hyping up the next story arc in Thor. And to do it, he's like, man, I can't wait for you guys to see what I've got planned for you. Okay, sure. We've heard that one a lot too, but that's all good. Good for you. I no issues with that. It's like, I can't believe Marvel's letting us get away with this. And it's that sentence. It's just like, I'll bet I do believe it. I'm I'm going to just say right now, I believe they're letting you get away with it, because they're letting people get away with anything. I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff. We've got art kind of all over the place. We've got the X-Men are plant drug dealers. Again, no, I'm being a little bit facetious, because I know there's a lot of X-Men fans who listen to this channel, so not me crapping on the X-Men. I'm just saying, at this point, what would you truly not believe? I mean, did you read Iron Man 2020? They let Dan Slott get away with that. Like, that was terrible. So they let him get away with it. They've killed off all the major characters at one time or another. The X-Men are now kind of immortal plant people, who live on their own little island and hang out with their enemies and have parties and orgies and deal drugs. So, I mean, yeah, I think I can believe it. I think I can believe anything that they're letting you get away with. And so it comes down to, who's that effective on? Like, I mean this, and I'm saying this kind of reaching out to that optimistic, non-jaded fan out there. And I think I'm that most of the time. I try not to be jaded. I've read a ton of comics, and I know that the more you read, the more it kind of diminishes your ability to get really excited about things. But on the other hand, the more you read, the more you have this kind of wealth of enjoyment for this pastime in your mind, and you get kind of excited about stuff, and you can remember storylines that are good. And when somebody does something new, it's really cool, and get excited about it. But this idea of like, you're not going to I can't believe they're letting us get away with that. I always think in the back of my head, there's got to be a tweet out there from like a Warren Ellis or a Cameron Stewart or a Ed Brzinga, or something. Basically saying, hey, you you won't believe what DC's letting me get away with, says Eddie Brazanga. Yeah, you're right. I can't believe what they let you get away with. You are correct. But all joking aside, like, how do you hype comics anymore in today's digital age, where you've got the news is breaking fast and furious, and anything you're writing in a comic today, if you're lucky enough for it not to get leaked, it's going to come out like 4 or 5 months later. And we're living in a crazy pandemic time, and there's murder hornets and crazy politics and everything else. I think I just don't think it works anymore. I think the hype has to come another way. And I know I'm picking at a thread here, and I know this is not the biggest deal in comics, and it's not. When you're slamming out 3 videos a day because you got a lot to talk about, not everything is going to be a winning gem of a detailed topic. But hype as a important facet of comics is something that is key. to getting stories out there, to separating yourself from the pack. I mean, in many cases, Marvel and DC have it really easy. They've got the shoulders of decades of comics and corporations and movies and toys and licensed stuff all behind them. So for them, the hype is kind of like, hey, there's Spider-Man's coming out again. That's really the hype that they have to do. I mean, because everybody knows Spider-Man, and you're like, I'm into some Spider-Man, let's go. But for the indies, this is a thing that people really struggle with. How do I get my comic noticed? How do I get that buzz, that readership? How do I get people into it? And they're not able to pull out the card of. I mean, I guess you could if you're some kind of indie doing a Kickstarter. You're like, you won't believe what I'm able to get away with since I don't work for Marvel or DC. I mean, I guess you could go that route. But hype is something that gets overlooked a lot, and it's important in comics about how you market and how you promote and how you get people excited and you convey that energy across. And what I fear a little bit, fear is the wrong word, but what I think in my mind a little bit is when I hear somebody who's saying something like, hey, you won't believe this, or when the hype feels very transparent, very kind of, I've heard this a million times before. Whenever you kind of get into that zone, you get more cynical. At least for me, for customers who have come in, I and they get more cynical. I can tell you that running a shop for many years, people would come in and they'd almost have a default negative reaction to anything promoted. Like whenever DC or Marvel would say something like, you won't want to miss this issue. I mean, I had, not me, but like customers going, I'm going to miss that issue. I don't care. I don't want to be marketed this way. I don't want to be promoted to this way. It doesn't matter to me. No, I'm not interested. I think that's, it's just part of the problem. I think that hype is, it's such a careful topic because if you just do it a little bit wrong, if it feels a little bit too false, then it can cut negatively as fast and as quick as it's positive. And if you're a shop owner or you're somebody in the middle trying to sell this stuff, you often find yourself having to translate the hype from maybe something that's going to turn off your readership or something that doesn't exist into something that's going to fit your market. And, this is way too much baggage to be put on one simple tweet. And like I said at the beginning, I would put far more positive points on Donny Cates for getting out there and trying to push his book than any negativity. So any kind of quibbling and bitching that I'm doing right now, certainly not indicative of like, the guy is bad or anything like that. We need more hype. So I started and stopped this video a few times because I don't want this to come off like I'm just complaining about something that frankly I wish more people would do, because I do wish that. But at the same time, I think it's worth at least talking about it from the perspective of how can we do it better? How can we make sure we're landing that message more? And for people who don't have the benefit of a giant corporation behind them, how do we help them make more progress? How do we help them, get somewhere where they can have some, other ability to kind of promote their work or be successful? How do we succeed on that level? It's not easy. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be had there. I get a lot of emails from time to time, too many emails, and I'm slowly going through them, very, very slowly going through them. And a lot of them are indie comic creators who are looking for advice. And that's where a lot of the videos I do come from, is me trying to answer those questions of, how can I find an audience? How can I, you've dealt with a lot of customers. How can I get to those customers? How do I reach them? How do I connect with them? And I think that authentic promotion is very, very hard to achieve. But if you can, critical to your success, being able to get the people who are listening to you and hearing it to believe that you're genuine. Maybe, in fact, that people believing that you're genuine is more important than people believing that you're interesting or exciting or not boring or any of those things. Believing that you're actually speaking from your heart, that you mean what you say, or at least you believe that you do, that's what's typically going to draw those customers to you. That's what's going to make that connection, in my view anyway. So what do you think? Hype. What works on you? What doesn't? Are you, this is like pet peeve territory, but does the phrase, you won't believe what they let me get away with, does that move the needle for you? Do you get excited then when you hear stuff like that? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. I know that it's funny because I hear other videos and they're like, always put that at the beginning. You got to tell people to like and subscribe and check your notifications and all that kind of stuff. Check your subscriptions. You're supposed to do it at the beginning because most people have vanished by this point. But I mean, I don't know. Why would I feel bad about making people wade through that shit, honestly, to get to this point? I don't know. Anyway, hey, I hope you're having a great day. Follow me on social media, whatever you want. If you want to chat some more, I'm here. Most importantly, though, thanks for listening.